Hi everyone, and welcome to another Doctor Who figure review by me, Mega Shots. And as you can see today, I'm going to be reviewing another figure from Wave 1C of the Series 6 figure line, and it is the Corroded Cyberman with face damage from the episode Closing Time from Series 6 Part 2. Now, I got this figure recently from Asda for £9.99. It's a great figure. This is the Wave 1C version, by the way, which doesn't come with any accessories unlike the Wave 2 version. This is my first Series 6 Cyberman figure, so it's the first new Series Cyberman I have without the Cybus chestplate logo, which I shall be talking about later on in the video. But first of all, we're going to quickly take a look at the packaging. Now, the packaging for this figure is exactly the same as that of any other Wave 1C Doctor Who figure. You've got the plastic bubble in the middle containing the figure, and then the card at the bottom showing the new Doctor Who logo and the name of the figure, and you've also got the same usual information about the figure at the top. And on the back it shows you all the figures from Wave 1C and then the usual product and company information. And that's it for the packaging, and now we're going to take a closer look at the Corroded Cyberman with face damage. Okay, so here we have the Corroded Cyberman with face damage. Now, like many of the other Cybermen figures we've seen over the past few months, I believe this is made from several new parts, as well as many old parts from some of the previous new series Cybermen figures. And as usual, we're now going to go into the detail paintwork and sculpting of this. Okay, so first of all, we're going to take a look at this Cyberman figure's head sculpt. Now, I really like this Cyberman figure's head sculpt. It's got all the same detail as all the other previous new series Cyberman figures, like those really cool black teardrop eyes, the little mouth, the lines going across the head, the vents at the top, and the handlebars. And as you can see, also on this Cyberman figure, you've got a extra panel of metal to represent the face damage, which has some screws on it to help it stand out a bit more from the rest of the features on this Cyberman's head. We've also got the usual grey paintwork with the silver metallic paint with the brown wash going on top to help make it look a bit old and dirty, like all the new series Cybermen were when we saw them in Closing Time, because they were going a bit downhill, as I said in my review of the Cybermats about a week ago. And if we move on to the chest of this Cyberman figure, we can see that it also has some really good detail. It's got that same brilliant paintwork with the silver paint and the light brown wash going on top. Obviously helped to make it look a bit rusty and also very accurate. One of my favourite features about the chest on this Cyberman figure is the new chest plate, because it doesn't have a Cybus logo on it, meaning that this is one of the Cybermen from our universe, and possibly one of the Mondas Cybermen, I think. But if I'm wrong about that, please let me know in the comment section below. And yep, moving back to the figure itself, also on the chest we can see a bit of chest damage, which looks really nice up close. You've got lots of silver wires along with a few blue and red ones which stand out really nicely. I think if they were painted a bit darker they would have stood out a bit more easily though, but they still look really nice and they are great features of the figure. Also on the chest you've got these sections leading down to the waist, the little vents on the sides, and also these two big bits of metal at the back, and also this big line going down the middle, which I have never noticed on this figure before. And then if we take a little look at the arms of this Corroded Cyberman figure, we can see that they have the same usual detail as well, like the handlebars on the sides, along with the screws, the silver wires which connect to the lower arms, and also the hands, which are also very nicely detailed on this figure. As you can see on this Cyberman figure, you've got a right hand which is open and a left hand which is closed. I really like the right hand on this Cyberman figure because obviously with it being open you can pose him like he's going to delete someone, and you can also put accessories such as the Cybermat within the hand very easily. I'm not sure if I like this left hand though, because it's closed and you can't really get to hold any accessories and you can't really do as much with it, but I still think it looks very nice. It's got the same usual brilliant detail. And now we're going to take a look at the detail of the lower part of this Cyberman figure. Okay, so if we take a look from the waist downwards, we can see many more of these silver wires which connect various parts of this Cyberman figure together. Now, to be honest, on this figure, I think these wires would do better if they were painted black instead of silver, because all the new series Cybermen have had black wires instead of silver ones. So if these wires were painted black on the figure, obviously it would be a bit more accurate, and they would also stand out a lot better on the figure, because from a distance this figure does look like it is completely silver. So if these wires were painted black, I'm pretty sure it would stand out a lot better, and as I said before, it would look a lot more accurate that way. But they still are very nice, they've been sculpted very nicely. And if we move on to other parts of this Cyberman's lower body, we can see some vents on the waist there, the handlebars on the legs, along with more wires which connect to the lower legs of this Cyberman figure. And another great bit of detail I've noticed on this Cyberman figure is the vents on the lower legs, which haven't actually been featured on any other new series Cybermen figures at all, other than the other ones from Closing Time. Now, I did notice this a few days ago on this figure, and I looked at my 12-inch Cyber Leader figure from Series 2, and I realised that they were on the figure as well, but I didn't see them on any of the other 5-inch new Series Cyberman figures. So I think it's really good that they've added this bit of extra detail onto the new Closing Time Cybermen figures to make them a bit more detailed and also a bit more accurate. I never actually noticed these features on the new Series Cybermen until a few days ago, by the way. I think they are a great little feature of the design though. And also on the legs you've got that same great paintwork with the silver paint and the brown wash going over the top, helping to make the figure look very lifelike. And finally, if we take a look at his feet, we can see that they are the same as usual as well. They're made out of lots of different sections, and you've got the usual bumpy texture at the bottom to help them grip a bit more easily when they're walking over the ground. Okay, so that is pretty much all the basic detail of the Corroded Cyberman with face damage. I think the detail of this figure is absolutely superb. It has all the detail that it needs for it to be a very good, accurate and highly detailed figure. The paintwork is absolutely fantastic as usual as well. I really like the way they've made this figure look very old and dirty by painting it silver on one layer and then giving it a brown wash on top. The sculpting of this figure is absolutely brilliant as well. Really like the new head sculpt, I believe, and also the new chest plate, which doesn't have the Cyber's logo. I think the paintwork could have been maybe a little bit better if the wires on the chest damage were painted a bit darker, and maybe if the main wires connecting various parts of the Cyberman together were painted black instead of just silver to make it look a bit more detailed and accurate. But I still think this is a absolutely fantastic figure, by far one of my favourite Cybermen figures. And now we're going to go into the articulation of this figure, which is also brilliant. Okay, articulation. His head can turn from side to side, and because it is ball jointed, it can go upwards and downwards as well. The arms can do a 360-degree turn at the shoulders, as well as move outwards because they are also ball jointed. The arms can bend up at the elbows, and both hands can turn 360 degrees. You can turn from the torso a little bit, but not very much. The legs can also turn 360 degrees. The legs can bend from the knees as well, and the feet can sort of wobble a bit and also turn 360 degrees, but as you can see on my figure, they are a bit stiff. Okay, so that was all the articulation of the Corroded Cyberman with face damage. I think the articulation on this figure is absolutely brilliant. As you will have just seen, my Corroded Cyberman figure does have some stiff joints, but over time these should loosen up a bit, so I would still be able to put him into as many poses as all my other new series Cybermen figures in my Doctor Who figure collection. Don't think the articulation needs any improvements, by the way. I think it's just fine the way it is. And overall, I think the Corroded Cyberman with face damage from Closing Time is a absolutely fantastic addition to my Cyberman figure collection. As I said before, the detail paintwork and sculpting on this figure is absolutely superb. It really does look like the real Cyberman with face damage that we saw in the episode Closing Time, with all the great detail and paintwork that it has. The detail it has is all that it needs. The paintwork is absolutely brilliant, especially with that brown wash going over the metallic silver paint to make it look very old, dirty, or rusty. The sculpting is also absolutely brilliant as well. I think maybe the left hand could have been better if it was an open hand instead of a closed hand, but it still is good the way it is. And once again, I think maybe the wires on the Cyberman's arms and legs would have been better if they were black instead of silver to make the figure look a bit more accurate. But this is still a absolutely brilliant figure, and those improvements I just said about it are only sort of small improvements I could say about this figure, because it is still such a great addition to my collection. So if I was to give the Corroded Cyberman with face damage a rating out of 10, I'd say I'd give it a very well earned 9 out of 10. This is a absolutely brilliant Series 6 Cyberman figure, a great variant for figure adventures, and obviously scene recreations of Closing Time. Once again, the detail, paintwork, sculpting and articulation of this figure are all absolutely brilliant parts of the figure. But as I said before, I think the figure could have been maybe a little bit better if the wires on the chest damage were a little bit darker, and maybe if the wires connecting the legs and arms together were painted black instead of silver. And that is all I have to say for my review of the Corroded Cyberman with face damage from Closing Time. If I have any more comments about this figure, I will put them up in the comment section, which is actually below, not up there, or in YouTube video annotations. If you would like to share your thoughts on this figure, you can also do so in the channel comments, or video comments below, and also in any video responses you may wish to make. Thanks for watching this review, YouTubers. I hope I can get some more Series 6 Cyberman figures over the next few weeks, especially around Christmas, because after getting this figure, I really want to get the other new Closing Time Cyberman figures into my collection, as well as that one from Wave 2, which has that massive cyber gun, which I've actually been wanting for ages, but haven't actually got. So, I don't know when my next Cyberman figure review will be. I'm guessing it will be quite soon though, because there's so many Cyberman figures being released at the moment. Thanks for watching this review, YouTubers, and if you wish to know what my next review is going to be, please check my channel comment section, which I normally update once a week.